Nadia Harrison had always believed Mars held secrets beneath its rusty surface, but she never expected to literally stumble upon one. The soil analysis probe had malfunctioned again, typical for equipment that had to endure the planet's harsh conditions, and she'd been forced to venture out in her envirosuit to reset it manually. "Base, this is Harrison," she reported through her comm. "The readings are still unstable. I'm going to try recalibrating the deep scan array." "Copy that," replied Marcus, her research partner back at the colony. "Just don't take too long, storm front approaching from the north." Nadia adjusted her tool belt and knelt beside the probe, her boots crunching in the red soil. The Acidalia planitia stretched endlessly around her, its vast plains broken only by the distant dome of Colony 7 where she'd called home for the past 3 years. The terraforming project was her life's work, transforming Mars into a second Earth, one microorganism at a time. The probe's display flickered as she ran diagnostics. Something was interfering with its sensors, creating unusual energy patterns she'd never seen before. Frowning, Nadia switched to manual mode and began a sweep of the immediate area. The reading spiked. She moved 5 meters to the left. Another spike, stronger this time. Following the signal like a metal detector, Nadia traced an irregular pattern across the ground until the readings nearly overloaded the probe's sensors. She dropped to her knees and began brushing away the loose soil. Her gloved hand struck something smooth and cool, definitely not rock. "Marcus," she called, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'm picking up some unusual readings out here. I think you should." The ground beneath her feet suddenly illuminated with a soft blue glow. Geometric patterns spread outward in concentric circles, like ripples in a pond. Nadia scrambled backward, her heart pounding against her ribs as a column of light erupted skyward. When the light faded, she wasn't alone anymore. He, if he was even the right pronoun, stood nearly 7 feet tall. His form was humanoid but clearly alien, silvery skin that seemed to shimmer like starlight, elongated limbs that moved with impossible grace, and eyes that held the deep blue of Earth's oceans. He wore what appeared to be some kind of translucent armor that shifted colors with each movement. Nadia's scientific mind warred with her instinct to run. First contact. This was humanity's first contact with an alien species, and it was happening right in front of her on a routine Tuesday morning. The being tilted his head, studying her with those impossible eyes. When he spoke, his voice resonated in her mind rather than through the thin Martian atmosphere. "You have awakened the outpost, Seedbearer." Nadia swallowed hard. I'm a terraforming specialist. My name is Nadia Harrison." "I am Lysander, guardian of the Celestian Waypoint." He gestured to the glowing patterns beneath their feet. "You carry the markers we left in your species' genetic code. Only one with the proper sequence could have activated this site." "Genetic markers? Wait, are you saying your people have been here before, that you've influenced human evolution?" The implications made her head spin. "We are the Celestians. We have guided many species across the cosmos, preparing them for the greater community of sentient beings." Lysander took a step toward her, and Nadia forced herself to stand her ground. "But something is wrong. I should not have awakened alone. The others. Something has happened to the network." A crackling in her comm made Nadia jump. "Harrison, do you copy? Your vitals are spiking and we're getting crazy energy readings from your location. Talk to me." She glanced between Lysander and the distant colony. Protocol dictated she should report this immediately. This was the discovery of the century, proof of intelligent alien life and their apparent role in human development. But something in Lysander's expression gave her pause. There was confusion there and what looked like concern. "I copy, Marcus. Just some equipment malfunction. The storm's interfering with the readings. Heading back now." She switched off her comm before Marcus could reply. Lysander's eyes narrowed slightly. "You chose not to reveal my presence. Why?" "Because I think you need help," Nadia replied, surprising herself with her certainty. "And because if I report this, you'll be swarmed by scientists and military personnel before you can figure out what's happened to your people. I'm already breaking about a dozen protocols, but..." She took a deep breath. "How about we help each other? You can tell me about the Celestians, and I'll help you understand what's changed since you were last here." For a long moment, Lysander was silent. Then, to Nadia's amazement, his features softened into what might have been a smile. "Your kind has grown wise, Nadia Harrison. Perhaps this awakening was meant to be, even if the circumstances are unexpected." The storm was visibly approaching now, its dark wall of dust rising on the horizon. "We need to move," Nadia said. "I have a research outpost about 2 kilometers from here. It's isolated from the main colony. We can talk there." "Lead the way, Seedbearer," Lysander replied, his form beginning to shift and change. By the time Nadia blinked, he appeared human, tall, and striking, but human enough to avoid immediate detection. "It seems we have much to learn from each other." As they made their way across the Martian landscape, Nadia's mind raced with questions. What were the Celestians? Why had they guided human evolution? And most importantly, what had gone wrong with their network that left Lysander alone on this outpost? She glanced at her alien companion, now looking deceptively human in the growing storm. One thing was certain. Her life's work of transforming Mars had just become vastly more complicated. And somehow, she knew this was only the beginning. The storm overtook them just as they reached the outpost's airlock. As they cycled through decontamination, Nadia caught Lysander studying the simple human technology with what seemed like nostalgic fascination. "Something wrong?" she asked. "No," he replied in her mind, though his human lips moved in sync. "It is just familiar. We went through similar stages of development once, long ago, seeing your species at this point. It brings back memories." The inner door hissed open, revealing Nadia's private research station. As she helped Lysander remove the envirosuit he hadn't actually needed, she couldn't help but wonder what other memories and secrets this ancient being carried, and why, despite every rational argument against it, she felt she could trust him. The storm raged outside, but inside, 2 beings from vastly different worlds began to bridge the gap between their species, one question at a time. Neither of them knew it yet, but their meeting would change the fate of both their peoples forever. "You're telling me your people seeded Earth with life?" Nadia sat cross-legged on her research station's floor, a forgotten cup of coffee growing cold beside her. 2 weeks had passed since she discovered Lysander, and each answer he gave only spawned more questions. Lysander, still wearing his human disguise but somehow managing to make the standard colony jumpsuit look elegant, traced patterns in the air. Holographic DNA strands materialized, spinning slowly. "Not exactly. We guided its development, introduced certain possibilities into the evolutionary chain." "Like what?" "Abstract thought, tool use, the capacity for complex language." His ocean blue eyes met hers. "The ability to look at the stars and dream of reaching them." Nadia watched the DNA strands shift and mutate in the air between them. Why choose us?" "Because we saw ourselves in your potential, the same curiosity, the same drive to explore and understand." The hologram faded as Lysander's expression grew distant. "But something has changed. The network should have maintained contact. The other outposts should have responded to my awakening." "Could they have been destroyed? You said you've been in stasis for thousands of years." "Impossible. Celestian technology doesn't degrade. Unless—" He trailed off, his borrowed human features darkening. A sharp knock at the door made them both freeze. "Harrison, you in there?" "Marcus," Nadia mouthed to Lysander, who immediately shifted his appearance to match the cluttered research station, becoming, to all appearances, just another piece of equipment. She opened the door to find her research partner looking concerned. "Hey, what's up?" "What's up?" Marcus ran a hand through his graying hair. "You've been holed up in here for 2 weeks, your soil samples are overdue, and Command is starting to ask questions. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," she said quickly, too quickly. "Just working on a new theory about the terraforming process. I think I'm onto something big. Marcus peered past her into the station. Alone, in the secondary research post. You know how I work best. No distractions. Nadia, he lowered his voice. Look, we've worked together for 3 years. I know when something's off, if you're in some kind of trouble. I'm not, she interrupted. I just need time, trust me. Marcus studied her face for a long moment, then sighed. 2 more days. Then I need those samples, or I'll have to report this up the chain. Deal. Deal, thanks, Marcus. After he left, Lysander resumed his human form. He cares for you. He's a friend, one I'm lying to. Nadia slumped against the wall. This is crazy, isn't it? Hiding an alien being, breaking every protocol in the book. You could still report my presence, Lysander suggested, though something in his tone suggested he hoped she wouldn't. No, she straightened up. Not until we figure out what happened to your network. Besides, she managed a smile. How many terraforming specialists get private lectures on alien genetics? Their days fell into a pattern. Nadia would collect her samples, file her reports, maintain appearances. Then she'd return to the research station where Lysander taught her about Celestian science and culture. He showed her how they had guided not just humanity, but dozens of species across the galaxy, preparing them for eventual contact. In return, she taught him about human progress, their triumphs and failures, their art and music, their resilience in the face of adversity. She found herself watching his reactions more and more, fascinated by how this ancient being could be so moved by simple human creations. One evening, as they watched the Martian sunset through the station's reinforced windows, Lysander asked, "Do you ever regret your decision to keep my presence secret?" "No," she answered without hesitation, "but I am afraid." "Of what?" "Of what happens when we do have to reveal the truth, of how humanity will react to learning they were guided. Some will see it as interference. Others might worship your people as gods." She turned to face him. "And I'm afraid of what we'll find when we locate the other outposts. What if something terrible has happened to your people?" Lysander was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his mental voice was softer than usual. "I fear that as well, but Nadia, you should know something. The genetic markers that allowed you to activate the outpost, they're extremely specific. Out of all humanity, only a handful would have been capable of awakening me." "What are you saying?" "That perhaps this was not chance. Perhaps you were chosen generations ago for exactly this moment." Before Nadia could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the colony. Red emergency lights flashed as Marcus's voice came over the comm. "All personnel, we have detected an incoming object on a collision course with Mars. Impact in 48 hours. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Nadia's eyes met Lysander's. "A meteor." His expression was grim. "No, I recognize these readings. It's a Celestian ship." "But that's good news, right? Your people have found you." "Nadia," his form flickered, momentarily revealing his true Celestian appearance. "That ship's trajectory. It's not coming to find me. It's coming to destroy the outpost." She felt her blood run cold. Why would they want to destroy their own outpost? Because someone doesn't want it found. Someone has gone to great lengths to erase all trace of our work with humanity. He gripped her shoulders, his touch sending tingles through her body. "We have 48 hours to uncover a conspiracy that's been thousands of years in the making, and if we fail—" "Earth could be next," Nadia finished. "They'd have to eliminate all evidence of Celestian influence." She squared her shoulders, mind already racing with plans. Then we better not fail. What do you need? Access to the colony's main communication array, and, he hesitated, your complete trust. You already have that, she said, surprising herself with how true it was. Then let's begin. It's time to show you what your Celestian genetics can really do. As emergency protocols activated around them, and the colony prepared for what they thought was a natural disaster, Nadia and Lysander began their race against time. Neither of them knew that their actions over the next 48 hours would not only expose a cosmic conspiracy, but also forge a bond between them that would transcend species, time, and space itself. The sun set on Mars, casting long shadows across the red plains. In Nadia's small research station, two beings from vastly different worlds prepared to face an enemy that had been hiding in plain sight for millennia. And somewhere above them, a ship of impossible power drew ever closer, carrying with it either answers or annihilation. Nadia's fingers flew across the colony's communication array controls, redirecting power from non-essential systems. Beside her, Lysander had dropped his human disguise entirely. There was no time for pretense now. His true form cast a silvery glow across the darkened control room. 36 hours until impact, Marcus's voice echoed through the facility. All non-essential personnel report to emergency shelters. The signal's still not strong enough, Lysander projected, his mental voice tense. We need more power to reach the dormant defense systems. If we divert any more, we'll alert the whole colony. Nadia wiped sweat from her forehead. The revelation of Lysander's existence to Marcus had gone poorly. Her old friend was now locked in a storage room, probably thinking she'd lost her mind. There might be another way. Lysander placed his elongated fingers on her temples. Your genetic markers, they're not just for activation. They're a key to accessing Celestian technology directly, but using them could change you, permanently. Nadia met his starlit gaze. Will it help us save the colony? Yes, but Nadia, you need to understand. Asterisk. Then do it. Energy coursed through her body, igniting every nerve ending. Nadia gasped as her consciousness expanded, connecting with the ancient systems buried deep beneath Mars' surface. Data flooded her mind, star charts, transmission codes, tactical readouts. She saw the approaching ship with new eyes, recognizing its design, its capabilities, and its weaknesses. That's not a standard Celestian vessel, she said, her voice overlaid with harmonics she'd never heard before. It's been modified, weaponized. The original builders would never. She stopped, memories that weren't her own surfacing. There was a schism, wasn't there, within your people? Lysander's form rippled with emotion. Yes, some believed we should do more than guide species. They wanted to rule them, to shape them into weapons. And the others? We opposed them, but they struck first, corrupting the network, sending the outposts into emergency stasis. I suspect only those loyal to their cause were meant to awaken. His light dimmed slightly. Until you found me. Warnings flashed across the colony's screens. The ship had changed course, accelerating. They know we're accessing the systems, Nadia realized. We're out of time. Not yet. Lysander's form began to shift again, but differently this time. Parts of his energy body seemed to merge with the control room systems. The defense grid, can you see it? Nadia closed her eyes, letting her enhanced consciousness flow through the ancient network. Yes, it's huge. A whole web of satellites and stations just waiting to be activated. But the codes are locked. Even with these changes to my mind, I can't. You can, because I'm giving you full access, all of it. Her eyes snapped open. That would mean accepting a complete neural bond, becoming something neither fully human nor fully Celestian. His voice carried an edge of desperation. It's forbidden, unprecedented, but it's our only chance. The ship was close enough now that its energy signature was interfering with colony systems. Alarms blared as power fluctuated throughout the facility. Harrison, Marcus's voice came through the door. Whatever you're doing in there, the whole colony's at risk. Let me help. Nadia looked at her hands, seeing faint traces of silvery light beginning to dance across her skin. The changes were already starting, her DNA rewriting itself in response to Lysander's power. There would be no going back. "Do it," she whispered. The universe exploded behind her eyes. She was falling through stars, through time itself. She saw the rise and fall of civilizations, the slow dance of galaxies, the patient work of the Celestians as they seeded world after world with potential. She saw the schism that tore them apart, those who would guide versus those who would rule. She saw Lysander, so much younger then, fighting to protect the network even as it was corrupted around him. And she saw what the approaching ship really was. A prison transport, modified by the extremist faction to become a weapon of mass destruction. When Nadia opened her eyes, they shone with the same starlight as Lysander's. Her consciousness was intertwined with his, their thoughts and memories flowing freely between them. The neural bond had worked. "I understand now," she said, her voice carrying the same mental resonance as his. "They're not just trying to destroy evidence of your influence. They're eliminating any species that might oppose them. Earth would have been next." Together, Lysander's thoughts merged with hers. The defense grid. Their combined consciousness reached out, accessing codes that neither could have used alone. Ancient satellites stirred to life, a web of power awakening after millennia of sleep. The approaching ship registered the activation too late to change course. "Warning shots only," Nadia insisted, feeling Lysander's agreement. "We need them alive. They have to answer for what they've done." The defense grid responded to their shared command, firing precisely calculated bursts of energy that disabled the ship's weapons and propulsion. As it hung helpless in Mars' orbit, Nadia felt other presences stirring, more Celestians, imprisoned within the vessel, beginning to wake from forced stasis. The door burst open. Marcus stood there with a security team, stun weapons raised. He froze at the sight of Nadia's transformation. "My God, what have you done to her?" he demanded of Lysander. "He didn't do anything to me, Marcus." Nadia stepped forward, watching her old friend try to reconcile her familiar face with her now silvery skin and glowing eyes. "I chose this, to save all of us, and now—" She turned to the screens showing the crippled ship. "Now we have proof of everything. The Celestians, their influence on humanity, the conspiracy to cover it all up. No more secrets." "The other outposts," Lysander added, his thoughts clear to everyone now. "They'll be awakening too now that the network is free, but none of them will have what we have." "What's that?" Marcus asked, lowering his weapon despite himself. Nadia reached for Lysander's hand, their energies swirling together where they touched. "A bridge between our peoples, proof that humanity is ready for more than guidance, ready for true partnership." As if in response to her words, the first transmission from the captured ship reached them, the voices of imprisoned Celestians, thanking their rescuers in 1,000 different languages. The time of secrets was ending. The time of transformation was about to begin. And somewhere in the vast network of newly awakened outposts, other humans with special genetic markers were about to discover their own extraordinary potential. Marcus sank into a chair, shaking his head. "The brass on Earth is never going to believe this." "Oh, they'll believe it," Nadia smiled, starlight dancing in her eyes. "Because we're going to show them something unprecedented, the truth." Above them, Mars' sky filled with the light of ancient satellites, while below, buried beneath red sand and stone, more outposts stirred to life. The next chapter in both human and Celestian history was about to be written, not by one species or the other, but by both together. The Earth was beautiful from orbit, especially through Nadia's enhanced vision. 3 months had passed since the confrontation at Mars, and the world below was still grappling with the revelation that humanity had never been alone in the universe. "The Security Council is ready for us," Marcus said, adjusting his formal uniform. As the first human to witness the transformation, he'd become humanity's unofficial liaison to the Celestians. "Try not to glow too much. They're still getting used to all of this." Nadia smiled, consciously dimming the silvery light that now constantly emanated from her skin. Her transformation had stabilized, leaving her somewhere between human and Celestian, a bridge between worlds, as Lysander had said. Speaking of Lysander, his presence brushed against her mind through their neural bond. The prisoners are secure. The extremists are revealing more about their plans. It's worse than we thought. She sent back a wave of acknowledgement as she followed Marcus into the United Nations chamber. Hundreds of faces turned to watch her approach the podium, some afraid, some fascinated, all hungry for answers. "Distinguished representatives," she began, her voice carrying that otherworldly resonance she could never quite suppress now. 3 months ago, humanity learned it was part of a greater galactic community. Today, we've discovered that community is in danger. Screens activated around the chamber, displaying data from the captured ship. The extremist faction didn't just want to destroy evidence of Celestian influence. They were preparing for invasion. Thousands of ships, hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the galaxy, waiting to be activated. Their goal wasn't just to rule humanity, but to turn us into their army. Murmurs filled the chamber. A representative from India stood. "And why should we trust these claims? How do we know you're still human enough to have Earth's interests at heart?" "Let me handle this," Lysander's thoughts reached her. His form materialized beside her, causing gasps throughout the chamber. "Because we trust her," he projected, his thoughts clear to everyone present. "The same genetics that made her capable of awakening our outpost make her incapable of deception. She is the proof that our peoples can be more together than they ever were apart." "Pretty words," the Chinese representative said, "but we're still facing an invasion force." "No," Nadia corrected. "We're facing an opportunity. The transformed humans who can activate the outposts, they're appearing all over Earth now. Each one capable of accessing Celestian technology, of helping defend against the extremists. We're not victims here. We're the key to saving both our peoples." She gestured, and new images filled the screens. Other transformed humans working with awakened Celestians, learning to use the ancient technology, preparing defenses. This was always the plan, not to guide us forever, but to help us reach this moment, to become equals. The chamber erupted in debate. Through it all, Nadia felt Lysander's presence steady beside her, their shared consciousness a beacon of calm in the storm of politics and fear. Hours later, in the privacy of their quarters, Nadia slumped against Lysander's true form, their energies mingling comfortingly. "They're afraid." "Of course they are. Fear is a natural response to change. But they're also curious, excited, ready to explore, just as you were. The extremists won't wait much longer, once they realize their prison transport failed. Then we'll be ready." His form shifted, wrapping around her like starlight. "The other transformed humans, they're adapting even faster than you did. The genetic markers were designed to activate in sequence, preparing Earth for this moment generation by generation. A moment that could end in war or unity." Nadia turned to face him. "I still don't regret it, any of it. Even though you can never return to what you were." "I don't want to return. I want to go forward, with you, with all of this." Her thoughts merged with his, sharing memories, fears, and something deeper that had grown between them, something that transcended both their species. An alert pulsed through their consciousness. Marcus's voice came through the intercom. "We're detecting dimensional anomalies, multiple signatures, they're coming." Nadia and Lysander moved as one, their combined power reaching out to the network of awakened outposts. All across Earth, other transformed humans were doing the same, linking with their Celestian partners, preparing for what was coming. Together, they thought in unison, their love and determination radiating out to inspire others. The time for debate was over. The time for action had come. As the first enemy ships began to appear in Earth's sky, humanity and their Celestian allies stood ready, not as guided and guides, but as equals, as family. The real test was about to begin. The battle for Earth's sky lasted 7 days. Nadia stood in the orbital defense platform, her transformed body pulsing with power as she coordinated with other human Celestian pairs across the globe. Through their shared consciousness, she felt Lysander's presence guiding the ancient defense systems, while below, Marcus led the ground forces protecting the awakened outposts. multiple ships emerging from dimensional space, a technician called out. Sector 7. Not ships, Lysander corrected, his form brightening. Allies. The new arrivals were Celestian vessels, but different from the extremists' weaponized craft. These ships glowed with pure starlight, their designs elegant and unchanged since the ancient days. The loyalist Celestians had finally arrived. About time, Nadia smiled, feeling Lysander's joy at seeing his people's true vessels again. Through their bond, she shared his memories of these ships in peacetime, carrying knowledge and guidance to developing worlds. The extremists' fleet found itself caught between Earth's transformed defenders and the arriving loyalist forces. What had been meant as a swift invasion became a desperate fight for survival. "They're targeting the outposts," Lysander warned, "trying to prevent more humans from transforming." "They don't understand," Nadia replied, reaching out to the network of newly awakened humans and their Celestian partners. "It's too late to stop it. The change isn't just genetic anymore, it's a choice we're making together." She felt the response from hundreds of others like her, their combined consciousness creating a shield of pure energy around the planet. The extremists' weapons, designed to destroy evidence of Celestian influence, proved useless against beings who had fully embraced that influence and made it their own. In the end, it wasn't advanced technology or ancient weapons that won the day. It was understanding. The transformed humans could see into the minds of the extremist Celestians, could feel their fear of losing control, their desperate need to dominate rather than guide. And in that understanding came the power to end the conflict without destruction. One by one, the extremist ships found themselves immobilized, their crews faced with the very thing they had tried to prevent, genuine connection between species. Many surrendered, some fled back into dimensional space. But all of them knew their age of secrets and control was over. When the last enemy ship had been secured, Nadia and Lysander stood before the combined council of Earth and Celestian representatives. Their joined hands glowed with shared power as they delivered their report. "The invasion has been repelled," Nadia began. "But more importantly, we've discovered something the extremists never considered. The genetic markers they tried to suppress. They weren't just about accessing technology. They were about teaching us to connect, to grow beyond our original forms." Lysander continued, his thoughts clear to all. "What they saw as a weapon we recognize as a gift. Humanity was never meant to be controlled. You were meant to join us as equals, as family." "And now," the head of the Earth Council leaned forward, "what happens to those who have transformed to our worlds?" Nadia and Lysander shared a look, their bond humming with shared purpose. "Now we build something new, not human, not Celestian, but a true union of both. A civilization that understands both the power of guidance and the importance of choice." Around the chamber, other transformed humans stood with their Celestian partners. Each pair was unique, their bonds manifesting in different ways, creating new possibilities neither species had imagined alone. "The stars are waiting," Nadia continued. "Not just for us, but for all the other worlds the Celestians have guided. It's time to bring them into the light as well, to show them what we've learned about transcending differences and embracing change." "Together," Lysander added, his form merging slightly with hers in a display of their perfect unity. The council chambers erupted in discussion, but Nadia barely heard them. Through her enhanced senses, she was already looking beyond to the countless worlds waiting to be awakened, to the civilizations that would join their new community of equals. "Ready for another adventure?" she asked Lysander through their private mental link. His response came with a wave of love and excitement. "With you, always." As dawn broke over Earth, ships of both human and Celestian design rose into the morning sky. Among them was a vessel unlike any other, a perfect blend of both technologies, crewed by transformed humans and their Celestian partners. At its helm, Nadia and Lysander plotted a course for the next outpost world. Behind them, Earth began its own transformation, as more humans chose to embrace their hidden potential. Before them stretched infinite possibilities, a future where the line between guide and guided had disappeared into something far more beautiful. Marcus watched them depart from the orbital station, smiling despite himself. "Good luck out there," he whispered, knowing they would hear him through the network that now connected all their peoples. "Show them what humanity can really become." The ship disappeared into dimensional space, carrying with it the seeds of a new age. An age where love could transform not just individuals but entire civilizations, where the stars themselves were just the beginning. The Starlight Protocol was complete. The real journey was just beginning.